Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Thursday edition of Today in Sports Betting. Breaking it up into two shows, Scott. We don't have many NBA games, but we've got a couple of really good ones, and we've got a couple of really good college ball games. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to spend a little time in the Big Ten, baby. Do you agree that three of the top five teams play in the Big Ten? Do you have any problem with those rankings?
Not really. I think the Big Ten, it's pretty safe to say, is the best conference in all of college basketball from top to bottom. I think you could have made that argument 3 months ago, and it still would have been true, especially with how a lot of these top-tier conferences have kind of either deteriorated or just taken the year off. Because if you want to actually go through every other conference, usually the ACC, I say, is the crown jewel of deep college basketball conferences that get like 7 teams into the tournament. This year, the ACC, not very good. And if you go through the rest of the line, you have the SEC, not very good either. You can go with the Big 12, which is okay, but I think the bottom of the Big 12 was kind of disastrous with Kansas State and Iowa State. You really just go through the line, it's not really that close. I mean, the Big East as well. You got DePaul down there. You got a couple of pretty bad teams. The Big Ten is just a good conference. You know, I know Northwestern's terrible and Penn State's not good, but I mean,
Both those teams have surprising wins.
That's what I'm saying, though. Both those teams are competitive at times, but if you actually look at both at the conference, there's a good chance the Big Ten might get 8 teams in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, you're talking about getting Indiana and Minnesota in.
I actually want to talk to you about that, which I know Indiana ended up winning yesterday and covering because, shocker, Minnesota's on the road and they failed to cover against every team besides when I bet against them against Rutgers. So, you know,
nice.
Sometimes. But I was curious if I had this thought. It was kind of a rant that I briefly posted on Twitter. I have a theory that teams should be required to win at least one road game in order to make the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Because Minnesota's 0-8 on the road, and I don't know how you can put them in the tournament.
Yeah, no.
You're 0-8. You have to win at least. How are you going to convince me that this team can win a game in a neutral site if they're 0-8 on the road?
Because they're going to be playing teams not as good as who they usually play on the road.
I'm just saying.
I don't care. No.
It was mostly just a rant of saying how people keep putting Minnesota into the dance, and I just don't see it. They're 0-8 on the road. Win a game. I mean, come on.
Well, they've got some good wins at home. I get it, dude. I get it. But
they have one road game left. It's against Penn State. Well, so if they lose that one, they might not have to be on the bubble anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Of course, then you got all the tournaments coming up. So
correct, but those are in neutral sites also. So Minnesota, you know, they're probably going to be one and done there because they're not going to be home.
What do you think of the idea of just putting everybody in the tournament? Just sending everybody to Indiana for 3 weeks?
The Mike Leach system?
Yeah, just let them play.
Yeah, we get to see San Diego against UC San Diego. We get to see some really tremendous matchups between colleges you probably didn't know existed.
You know what? You know you'd be watching, so shut up.
I'm watching everything. Are you kidding? I'm watching everything. You know how many conference tournaments I go out of my way to watch?
All of them?
I try to watch all of them.
I do too. Why wouldn't you?
It's a fun time. I'll go out of my way to watch Fairleigh Dickinson play against some of these other teams.
Dude, you got basketball at 10 in the morning? Come on. Of course I'm watching.
That's the dream.
What am I going to watch?
The first round match with the ACC between Boston College and Miami. And it's like, all right, sweet. Both of you are terrible, but I'll watch the game at 1 o'clock.
I'm going to watch The Price is Right. Come on, let's go.
Price is Right is a good show, so you got to watch yourself.
It's fine.
It's a good show. I mean, I always thought Let's Make a Deal is a little bit underrated. I think that's a pretty good show as well.
I can't watch any of the new versions of these shows.
I just like Wayne Brady as a host.
No. There's only one host of Let's Make a Deal, and that's Monty Hall, buddy.
That's fair. I'm just saying I grew up watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? So, and I also remember Wayne Brady from the Chappelle Show when he was on for that one episode, which might be one of the best episodes in TV history.
Which one was it?
That's the one where he guest hosts for Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which is an all-timer for just appearances and everything like that.
That's a good quality show.
Yeah, but either way, I can watch those, but I'll gladly passed in order to watch some early college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little Big Ten here, buddy. It's your favorite team. It's your alma mater. It's amazing how you and I both just our alma maters are pretty good, and we hate talking about them.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on what you think about your team right now.
What I think about them?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they need Tillman back for sure.
That's the given. I'm just saying they've lost 3 in a row, which makes sense because they're without probably their best player or second best player.
Yeah,
so, I'm not going to overreact to it, but that's definitely a situation there. If Tillman doesn't come back, they're losing in the first round. They're not going to win a game if Tillman doesn't come back.
Unlikely. Yeah, that's they especially put them on the 9-10 line or something. Probably.
I watched them better against Arkansas over the weekend, and they couldn't rebound the ball.
Game they should have won. Yeah, they got no inside presence without Tillman. It's ridiculous, and they can't shoot from outside. So,
yeah.
I would like to see Wisconsin and Mizzou play. That'd be a fine game right there.
You could watch it and give me the cliff notes because I'm not going to watch that.
Iowa catching 1.5 from your Badgers, buddy. Iowa's on the road. This Iowa team, good offense, don't play much defense.
Yeah, but Wisconsin doesn't play any offense, so that might balance out pretty well. I actually tried to watch Wisconsin play over the weekend.
Yeah.
I turn on the game. It's the second half. It's the start of the second half in the Michigan game. Wisconsin's up 13. They scored 39 in the first half. I'm like, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, you'll beat the team that hasn't played in 3 weeks off of COVID.
No.
And then they ended up scoring 20 combined points in the second half.
Got beat 40-20 in the second half.
I sat through it. I tried to watch this team play. I'm trying my best out there. I can't do it. I'm out. I can't do it. I try so hard. And it's painful to watch. It's watching paint dry territory.
Do you find yourself turning off a game if it's doing well and you turn it on and they start doing poorly and you have money on it?
100%. Happened to me the other day. It actually happened to me in the Loyola game. I turned on the Loyola game against Santa Clara, and they were, I think it was down 2. I had the -3. They gave up an and 1. They were down 6 with 2.5 to go. I turn it off, and Loyola comes back and wins by 3. So I'm a superstitious guy. Sometimes I just don't want to see my money burst into flames.
Right.
So it's kind of a mix of both, but I personally do that. Do you?
Absolutely.
I feel like all gamblers do.
I had 3 premiums Saturday before last. I turned each game on. We're in great shape in every one of them. As soon as I turn it on, they go down the tubes. It happened 3 times in a row. Lost all 3 games. I'm like,
I usually put it on for a minute, and if my team scores first, I'll leave it on a bit longer. But if the other team scores or I miss like 5 shots in a row, you better believe I'm changing the channel.
Okay, thanks for making me feel just a little less ridiculous.
We all do it, though.
5 minutes ago. I know. I didn't know we all did it. I just thought it was me.
No, but we all do it. And what I'm trying to say is that regardless of how many times you lose when you actually put a game on, you're still going to put the game on at some point because the boredom overrides your money.
Well, it's a great feeling to sit there and watch yourself win. That's cool. Yeah. That's why we gamble. We get to see. I had an in-game total last night. I win by 0.5 point. That's great.
It reminds me of, I forgot if it was a Bud Light commercial. It was one of these beer commercials from like 5 years ago. And it was about a bunch of superstitions about people wearing a specific type of clothing or a specific chair.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
The slogan was, "It's weird if it doesn't work."
There you go.
And Perfect. That is honestly how I feel when I gamble half the time.
That's also the slogan in the bedroom. So
that too.
Who do you like here, buddy?
Well, I know Wisconsin's laying 2. There has been a decent amount of line movement towards Wisconsin for this matchup, which doesn't surprise me because this is a game in past years that Wisconsin would win, just in the Kohl Center. Usually you have the fans going crazy, and Iowa is usually not a very good road team. I'm not laying the points with Wisconsin. I think this game's going to be ugly. I think it's a good spot for maybe a correlated parlay. I think if you like Wisconsin, you should probably take the under. Because I don't see how Wisconsin's supposed to get into a shootout with Iowa and cover. I just don't see that happening. I think if you want to go with a correlated parlay, I think Wisconsin unders are probably the way to go. I think that there's multiple ways Iowa can win this game. I think that if Wisconsin slows it down, I still think Iowa can score enough points in order to win because they should have no answers for Garza. I know Garza has been kind of underwhelming over the last couple conference games, but I don't know what happened to Reavers. Guy forgot how to play basketball. He's been awful this year. If you've actually watched Wisconsin play, Potter is good, but he never gets played because I don't know, guard hates him or something. I'm not really sure what the story is there, but Reavers is terrible, and Garza should pretty much eat him up on the inside. And I think that you should see Iowa either win in a fast-paced game or score enough in the half court. I don't know how Wisconsin's supposed to score enough in a fast-paced game. So if I had to play Wisconsin, I would parlay it with the under.
Yeah, and I think you could go the other way too and play Iowa in the over. Although there's a better chance Iowa wins an under game than there is that Wisconsin wins an over.
That was my main point that you just summed up. That's how I feel. So if I had to play it, which I'm not going to because I can't figure out Wisconsin, I would lean Iowa.
Yep.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
I'm the same way. All right. Ohio State, Penn State. I know that's not is Penn State's not a good team.
Money coming in on Penn State though.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Ohio State laying kind of a short number. They're opened at 5 down to 4.5 pretty much across the board. You see it? I don't see it.
Well, the truth is that people bet on blindly on any single Big Ten home team, just based on how the conference is gone. But Penn State's 7-10 overall, 6-3 at home. So this team has looked better at home. But if you look at who they've actually beaten, no real impressive wins there. You beat Rutgers, you beat Northwestern, you beat Wisconsin, which I guess counts. Beat Maryland, sure. They lost to Nebraska at home in their last game, laying 10.5. Ohio State is one of my favorite teams in the country, just based on how they've actually played this season.
Are they the best team in that conference?
I still think it's Michigan, but I really think that you have a 1A, 1B situation.
Okay.
The reason why Michigan's number 3 and Ohio State's number 4, I think both those teams are very close in terms of talent. Ohio State mostly impressed me because of all the injuries they've had in the middle of the season. I know this team is just so versatile. This team can beat you going up and down. This team can beat you slowing it down. I respect teams that can actually win when their usual style of play goes out the window. I think that gives you some extra bonus points in the tournament. I'm going to go with Ohio State. But having said that, I would probably wait till right before opening tip because I just see more Penn State money coming in.
I don't know about that.
It's just my opinion. I think that I thought the Ohio State buyback would have already happened by now.
Yeah.
So I would consider waiting it out.
I think it's coming. I think this goes off at 5.
I like Ohio State in the spot. I'm not taking Penn State, but I understand why people think Penn State might come out with a little bit of energy. I just think Ohio State's a very good team.
If you want to make a blind bet, and I saw the stats on this the other day. Big Ten unders.
Yeah. Well, with Penn State, that makes sense because this team against good defenses is useless.
Every Big Ten game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. If you insist on making a blind bet,
I'm saying Penn State's also 4-0 to the under in the last 4 games, so this team offensively is challenged.
Ooh, it's a trend. Look out! We've got a trend alert.
I throw it out every now and then when it supports my narrative.
I know. I understand. That's what handicappers do. Rutgers, Michigan. Michigan -9. 136.5 is the total. I got a premium on this.
Truth is, I actually think that 9 might be too many points.
Well, it was 10, so a lot of people share your vision.
Yeah, so I can understand why money's coming on Rutgers. I don't really want to play this, and you have a premium on it, so good luck to you. But Michigan's played 1 game in the span of about 3 weeks. I know that it looked really good in the second half against Wisconsin because I watched it, and that was pretty painful to watch for Wisconsin. But I'd probably lean Michigan, but I'm not going to actually touch the game. Maybe lean to the under, but I really have no thoughts. This is just a pure pass for me.
It's not a ton of points, 136.5.
Yeah, I'm just going to pass.
Okay. All right. So gun to your head, you'd play Michigan.
Gun to my head, I'm leaning Michigan because when in doubt, take the number 3 team in the country at home, but I really have no interest in betting that game.
There's 3 teams in the nation, Scott, that are top 10 Ken Palm defensive efficiency and offensive efficiency. Do you know who they are?
Assuming one of them is Michigan. Well, you can tell me if I'm right for each of them that I go. Michigan's probably 1.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if Loyola Chicago is 10 in offensive efficiency or not. I know that defensively they were number 1.
Don't overthink it.
It's Loyola?
No.
Okay. Don't overthink it? Fine. So you're going Baylor, which is a given, and probably Gonzaga?
That's right. That's the other one.
I was thinking if maybe you had one obscure one in there because I know Loyola was top 20, I think, in offensive efficiency, but Against Valpo, they scored 54, so I'm not surprised that they might not be there anymore. But I know Loyola was high in the efficiency rankings, but I want it to be different. I had to ask, and then once you tell me don't overthink it, there's only two teams that you're supposed to think of. So.
Michigan was the tricky one. So I should have asked it after.
Tell me the tricky ones were number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the country.
Yeah, the Michigan. Yeah, that's as well. This is as tricky as it gets. If I'd asked you after the Wisconsin game, I don't think you would have got Michigan.
I would have because I watched them before. I told you for the last couple of months, right before the Minnesota game, I said that I thought Michigan was the best team in the conference. So I've been on board this Michigan team for a while.
Okay. All right. So, but you think that's too many points against Rutgers? Possibly.
Truth is, I understand the line move. So that I'll phrase it that way. I think Rutgers, after some pretty awful midseason performances, has righted the ship to some degree. Now, have they looked extremely impressive in their last couple of games? No. But I think this team does have the guard depth to potentially give Michigan some problems. So I do think that might factor in. But I'm going to lean to Michigan, but I'm not fully thrilled about it. It's the first home game in about a month. I don't know if you buy into that. I know that the lack of a full crowd definitely means that home court might not be as powerful. But for a lot of these college players who had to travel on the road and didn't have the luxury of playing at home for about a month, this might psychologically actually mean something to Michigan.
Yeah, definitely true. Anything else grab your attention on today's card? A lot of games.
I'm going to have a play today, which I ended up not making yet because I wanted to do a first half line, and that was not out at 2 a.m, so I decided to wait it out. But other than that, though, looking at the card here, there was one line that I found pretty peculiar. It was the line between Loyola Marymount and San Francisco. San Francisco is currently laying about 5.5 in this game. Mm-hmm. San Francisco is awful. This team is 10-10, lost 3 in a row. They've lost each of their last 4 home games outright, and they're against a Loyola team that pushed in when I bet them, but they won 3 in a row, and Loyola already beat San Francisco outright earlier this year by, I believe, 8 points. So I don't know why San Francisco is favored by 5.5. If I was playing, I'd have to take the points there with Loyola. I know there's a decent chance Loyola wins the game. But San Francisco losing 3 in a row and losing 4 straight at home, I'm not going to the window with San Francisco.
Okay.
I don't know if you looked into that game. Probably not because it's so obscure. But I think you understand where I'm coming from with that.
Well, I'm not against playing. I'm playing 2 other obscure games today, so I'm not against playing obscure games.
I'll fade the team that's on a 3-game losing streak, laying 5.5 against the team with a 3-game winning streak. That's my deep analysis there. So I'll look at Loyola. But yeah,
I don't hate that. I don't hate Eastern Washington in that spot either. -8 against Montana.
I think Eastern Washington has a potential shot to win the conference. Do I think they're going to? No, but I do think that if you're looking – I'm sure we might do maybe a conference tournament future show talking about some lines or anything, maybe. But Eastern Washington, this team is kind of flying under the radar a little bit.
Agreed. I always have an eye on them, and a lot of times they're trying to cover big numbers, a little bigger number than I'm comfortable with.
You're saying they've won 7 in a row, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't realized.
Right. I like them in this spot against Montana.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Anything else?
No, not really.
Any thoughts on Tennessee Tech, Tennessee State?
I'm not backing. They're both those teams are so bad.
So bad.
I'd have to lean over. You've seen money coming in from 136.5 to 139.5, so I'd lean over there. But no, not particularly. Looking through anything else. I think the Vermont UMBC game is a bit fascinating, which we talked about a little bit before we went on air. I thought about giving out Vermont -1.5. I just thought the line was interesting. You have a team that's the best conference record at home, and they were getting 1.5. So I thought the line itself was kind of daring you to take UMBC. So I thought Vermont was the side. It's going from -1.5 to -4. So I think pretty much all value is gone from that spot. So I'm not interested anymore.
Unless you want to back UMBC.
Yeah. So I liked Vermont on the overnight, but I don't really like them much anymore.
Think the books are trying to give you a little bit of the old okey doke there, Scott, giving you the first place team in that conference at home with points.
Well, that's what I thought last night. So I thought about giving them out as a play there. I didn't do it. I probably should have. I would have saved about 2.5 points and a lot of money on my car insurance. But still, it happens. Whatever.
Okay.
That was a Geico commercial reference, by the way.
I don't hate that. Yeah, it was fine. I don't hate the Terriers. There's the Terriers, right?
It depends which team you're talking about.
Well, it's not the Catamounts, so obviously it's the other one.
No, I'm saying which college are you talking
Oh,
about?
UMBC.
Oh, the Golden Retrievers.
The Retrievers. God, I got my dog breed wrong.
The Retrievers, not the Golden Retrievers. That's why he said the Terriers.
Golden Retriever. They're the black. They're the black labs.
He said the Terriers. I'm like, is Wofford playing again?
I know Wofford's the Terriers too. I thought there was two Terriers, but no, there's the Retrievers, of course.
Yeah, I thought it was Golden Retrievers, Retrievers, same thing.
It's not the same thing.
It's whatever.
All right, buddy. That's going to do it for the college show. As always, there's a full card if you're looking for information on these games. I don't know how you could get any more information than what we've just given you, but if you're looking for info on some of the other games, make sure you stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives every game, every day. You know the drill. Always free. That's the story over there at Winners and Whiners. Very cool. Good cappers, good writers. Yeah, we appreciate you guys watching today. Don't forget to stay tuned for our NBA show. We're going to take a look at 2/3 of the NBA games on the card today, Scott. Sounds like a lot, right?
It's a new record, 66%.
All right, you guys take care. Good luck on all your plays today. We hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. Guys, have a great day. Stay tuned. We'll see you on the NBA show on Today in Sports Betting. Bye-bye.